Hey guys, how's it going? Twiggs here. So we're going to be checking out another video by Stioorg. And the reason I say another is because we've done quite a few of his videos in the past. I really enjoy his discussion-based content. And so it's really fun to kind of like play off his thoughts and kind of give my own take on whatever it is that he's trying to discuss. And in this case, we're going to be discussing, will players quit Wuthering Waves for Zenless Zone Zero? Reason this question is probably being asked is because there has been a lot of counter marketing and a lot of counter date setting between Hoyoverse when it comes to Zenless Zone Zero and Wuthering Waves. It's just been really interesting to watch these two companies try to outplay each other when it comes to how they're doing their marketing and their date setting. So definitely head down to the link in the description below for Stioorg's video. Hit that like and subscribe button for him. A really good content creator. And while you're at it, hit that like and subscribe button for me. Hitting that like button helps get the video out there. And hitting that subscribe button helps us grow community over here. Helps us grow the channel. So if you can do that, that'd be great. Now, let's jump into the video.
ZZ is coming out very soon. I wanted to make a video about if ZZZ is a break from Wuthering Waves, will people quit Wuthering Waves for Zenless Zone Zero, and will the game actually be good? This video is purely my opinion, and there is a lot of misconceptions about Zenless Zone Zero that is happening these days, and I'm actually here to correct that. So first of all, so many people are saying that Zenless Zone Zero will be dead on arrival, it won't be a good game, and this is because of the first CBT of the game.
The first beta test for ZZZ was very mixed to poor reception, and a lot of that negativity was due to the TV mode that a lot of players did not like, and a lot of players were going as far as saying, just get rid of it. That's how much people did not like the TV mode for ZZZ.
You have to approach the content in the game wasn't that good. And you know that I'm someone who criticizes Hoyo a lot, who criticizes Genshin, but since they got a lot of backlash because of the first CBT, they changed a lot of things, and I'm gonna tell you this, the game looks great. There's a lot of diversity in the gameplay, they fixed a lot of the content in the game, there's more things to do, and for the people who like story, the story looks very promising. So I don't like this hate coming towards Zenless Zone Zero, which is unjustifiable because of clueless people who didn't see the other beta. Now let's talk about Zenless Zone.
And I will be fair, they did do a lot of improvements in the next beta test, and the TV mode is still a thing, but it's not as prevalent, not as prominent in the game as it was beforehand. So to be fair, they did make improvements in that, and that is something that should be pointed out. But for me, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of get my opinion out there, is that I'm just not into the vibe of ZZZ. I'm not into the more cartoony style of ZZZ. It still looks like a Hoyoverse game, don't get me wrong. I definitely see the Hoyoverse signature when it comes to the character design. But I feel like it's more cartoony. And also, I just don't like the theme and the setting that they're going for when it comes to how they did the world design. And that's my opinion, just truly my subjective opinion.
Zero and Wuthering Waves, this is the main thing that I want to talk about in the video. So the launch of Zenless Zone Zero is gonna be huge. Regardless of what people think, I'm pretty sure most of you want to try the game. And I'm glad that we're getting the version 1.1 in 3 or 4 days on Wuthering Waves, because Zenless coming in like 2 weeks is a very good timing, and it will definitely be a break from Wuthering Waves. Because at this time, we will not even have content in Wuthering Waves, and that's something that we should understand. You can play both games. So will it be a break? Yes. But will people make Zenless Zone Zero their main game instead of Wuthering Waves? The amount of content in Zenless currently will not be enough for it to be a main game. But the main thing is, I look at Zenless like the Hoyo game that will be full of endgame content in the future. So for people who wanna no-life Zenless Zone Zero, I probably think that this will happen like in 1 year from now. Zenless will have so much content, and even more than HSR. And this is like an approach from Hoyoverse. They're trying to, make every game that they make a little different. So when I
think that's probably the best thing Hoyoverse can do, is give people a reason to play their different games. If you want your open world exploration game, there's Genshin. If you want your turn-based RPG game that has really good turn-based combat, there's Star Rail. If you want whatever it is that Zenless Zone Zero offers, and from what I'm understanding, it's going to be a lot of combat-focused gameplay, there's Zenless Zone Zero. But the thing is that, and I just can't keep getting this vibe out of my head, which is that I just don't see Zenless Zone Zero popping off. And I think that's an opinion a lot of people share, is that they look at Zenless Zone Zero and they just kind of see a game that's just not going to make it. And the biggest reason is because there's only so much time people can spend on these games. There's Genshin, Star Rail, Wuthering Waves, other gacha games, other games out there that are not gacha games. What is it that Zenless Zone Zero is bringing to the table that makes people want to play it? And when I look at Zenless Zone Zero, I just don't see anything that makes it stick out. And in fact, like I said, when it comes to my subjective opinion, I'm not into the art style, the animation style of Zenless Zone Zero. I see like a cartoony vibe, and if that was the art style they were going for, that's fine. I totally support it because I want them to go and chase after something a little different when it comes to animation and art. But for me, it just doesn't work. It doesn't stick out to me. It just, in fact, just kind of turns me off. Whereas I look at like Star Rail and I see a more mature approach to animation. And that's why I like Wuthering Waves' animation so much, is because it adds that very rigid, edgy, mature art to its animation.
Look at it from this perspective, yes, I think that Zenless in the future will be even better. But even with saying that, the game isn't difficult. We will not find something as exciting as the hologram bosses in Wuthering Waves, and I'm not seeing myself quitting Wuthering Waves for Zenless Zone Zero, even though the gameplay is very similar. Wuthering Waves is better in some things, and even Zenless is better in some other things. So for this question, I think that most people are not gonna quit Wuthering Waves for Zenless Zone Zero, but what I know for sure is that Zenless Zone Zero is going to be optimized at least better than Wuthering Waves. Howeverse has more experience and they know what they do with this. And I think that a lot of people who...
I think that's a fair criticism. This is Kuro Games' second biggest game, and it's a completely different approach than what they did with PGR. So that is a fair criticism because they never had to do a launch like this before, especially because, and if you look at PGR back in the day versus Wuthering Waves now, they had to make another big game, whereas PGR started off kind of small. And then you compare to Hoyoverse, who has done Honkai Impact 3rd, then made Genshin Impact, then made Star Rail, and now they're doing the Zenless Zone Zero. They are now seasoned when it comes to launches to their games, their bigger games. So I think that's a fair criticism.
Still cannot play Wuthering Waves are gonna be able to play Zenless Zone Zero, and this is actually a good thing for the game, especially for those people. But I'm expecting these people to be free to play, because if you don't have a good phone or a good PC, you don't have that much money to spend on a gacha game, unless you wanna be a loser with your life. But these are gonna be free to play people, but they will give viewership to the game. They will contribute to making the game even more successful. So I wanted to make this video to assure people that Zenless Zone Zero is going to be a very good game. We will have so much fun in the game as any new gacha game, and then the cycle will begin again, and we will even have more fun in future updates. But will Zenless be better than Wuthering Waves? I think that Zenless Zone Zero will give us some other content that we do not have in Wuthering Waves, that is more casual, that we might play it for some time and enjoy both. Because let me call Kuro stands a little here. You know that I make a lot of Wuthering Waves content. You know that it's my favorite game in the last month, but you stands need to stop hating on Zenless Zone Zero just because it's a contestant or
To his first point, I think he's right. A lot of people are going to probably pick up Zenless Zone Zero, and kind of like what I said with my cycle a few videos beforehand, where I said people are just going to rotate between their gacha games. They're going to play Star Rail right now because of the new update with Firefly. They're going to play 1.1 with Wuthering Waves. They're going to eventually play when Genshin gets to Natlan. They're going to play Natlan and all the updates before Natlan. And the same thing if you throw in ZZZ. People are going to play ZZZ when it launches, and then probably play Wuthering Waves at the same time because they're kind of happening at the same time. But there's going to be a repeat of playing these games when their updates happen. But if you're going to main one of these games, like if you're going to be maining Wuthering Waves because it's a new game, you want to try to get through some of the content and get your union rank up, and then at the same time you want to grind out Star Rail. And this is where I'm getting to my point of there's only so much time that you can spend on these games, and then also play other games at the same time. Is that this is where you got to kind of ask yourself what game is going to fall by the wayside. And for me personally, I don't see sustainability in ZZZ. And that could be, like I said, and I've said this many times before now, my subjective opinion of ZZZ.
Contender with Wuthering Waves. This is very good actually. We need Zenless Zone Zero to succeed to make Wuthering Waves even better. And we need Wuthering Waves to succeed to make Zenless even better. Like, these people are just so afraid that their money will be lost. Like, you're spending money on gacha games from the start. And I hate when these people pretend that they know anything about developing a game or how a game depends only on them to be successful. No, these people do not have any idea of how the gaming industry works. They only play Genshin or Wuthering Waves. They only play like 2 games which are gacha games. To be fair, both are still in early stage. We don't know what approach will they go with. I really hope that Wuthering Waves adds more end game. A lot of people want that and a lot of other people do not want it, and then
I want end game. I want more end game. I want to be challenged from every aspect of a game. So I want Wuthering Waves. If Wuthering Waves has more ideas for end game and they think they're good ideas, and they're like really sure they're good ideas, I'm down for it. That's what we've been bitching about for Genshin for a long time. If I'm Kuro Games, aka Wuthering Waves, I am looking at specifically Genshin Impact and currently ZZZ. Hoyoverse mostly as a whole. I'm not going to look at Star Rail because Star Rail's combat's so different that Kuro Games shouldn't even bother trying to compete at all with Star Rail, other than the concept of time. And like I said, it's just because of turn-based combat. Wuthering Waves has really no business trying to compete with Star Rail just because it's completely different combat styles. But I'm looking at ZZZ and Genshin Impact if I'm Kuro Games. I'm already pretty much kicking Genshin Impact's ass because I am now giving players what they want. They want a open world anime-esque game with good combat, that has challenging combat, it has challenging game modes. So in that regard, they're already kicking Genshin Impact's ass. But now you got ZZZ coming, and that game has a more focus on combat. This is where Wuthering Waves has to make sure they fine-tune their gameplay. Don't get me wrong, the gameplay already is really good in Wuthering Waves, but like they even said themselves in their dev notes, they think there's still room to fine-tune it and make it better, and potentially and hopefully what Stioorg is saying is true here, that they look at adding more in-game to Wuthering Waves to keep player interest. Player interest converts to player retention. So, yes, and to a degree, I hope ZZZ does pop off, just so there's more competition in the market. If I argued that with Genshin Impact, I should definitely be arguing with that when it comes to ZZZ. I think ZZZ should pop off just because it's more competition in the market. I'm looking at ZZZ and I just don't see a future for it because there's so much in the market now. Like, there should be competition, but the problem is that when you add so many, for example, if you're looking at a town and you see so many places opening up that are burger joints, there's only going to be so much demand for a burger restaurant before one of those many burger restaurants have to close down because of bankruptcy, not being able to get enough customers to run their business, therefore no money. And that's what I'm seeing here. I see competition due to the existence of Star Rail, Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves, and other gacha games like Fate Grand Order and so on and so forth. But is there a demand for ZZZ? And that's my concern. Do I hope it works out? Yes, just because, like I said, the argument of competition. But do I see it working out? I'm kind of iffy on it. I'm honestly 50-50 on how ZZZ is going to do.
They are afraid of it happening, but we need that one company that will try to do this, okay? And I hope that Zenless or Wuthering Waves produce this and make this a new meta in the gacha sphere. Also guys, I appreciate the support in the latest videos. That's it, I finished yapping. Also, how the hell do we have less subs than Hex Juice? Subscribe now, that was the video, bye bye.
God damn, shitting on Hex. Wow. Holy shit. Man, Stioorg, throwing out the guns, man. Damn. But yeah. But for me, to kind of get to the conclusion of my opinion, like I said, I do want ZZZ to do well. Zenless Zone Zero, like I said, it's going to be a more combat-focused game. If Wuthering Waves can kind of zero in and fine-tune their combat system and add more game modes, then Zenless Zone Zero will have to kind of up their game. And that's what I'm saying. That's the point of competition. If Zenless Zone Zero can pop off, hey, they might get me interested because I am someone who is not interested at all in Zenless Zone Zero. And that's mostly just from an art and animation perspective. Like I said, there's just something about Zenless Zone Zero's art and animation that just doesn't get my attention, doesn't grab at me. And again, that's just a subjective opinion. I know a lot of people are going to be different, and that's just because, quote unquote, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That same thought applies to art because art is subjective, beauty is subjective. I'm going to continue playing Wuthering Waves, obviously, just based on everything I said about Zenless. But I really hope that Zenless does do well, just because for the sake of competition. But at the same time, for my personal opinion, I kind of don't see it popping off too well just because there's already so much in the market. I don't see what Zenless Zone Zero offers that is different when it comes to everything else in the market. What Wuthering Waves offered was what Genshin Impact offers, but with more of an emphasis on gameplay and combat that was different. But we'll see. For me, I'm going to be continuing playing Wuthering Waves, and I'm just going to sit on the sidelines and watch how Zenless Zone Zero does. I want to watch and see how other people enjoy it, and then maybe try it if enough people I see like it. But what about you guys? What are you guys thinking? Are you guys going to be playing Zenless? Do you guys have high hopes for Zenless? Are you guys going to be sticking to Wuthering Waves? Or are you on a different category and you're not going to be playing either of these games? With that being said, though, please do tell me why it is that you feel the way you feel. And while you're at it, hit that like and subscribe button for me. Hitting that like button helps get the video out there. Hitting that subscribe button helps us grow community over here, helps us grow the channel. And while you're at it, hit that link in the description below. Check out Stioorg's video. Hit that like button for him. Hit that subscribe button. He's apparently trying to beat Hex Juice, so let's help him beat Hex Juice. And let's help me develop my channel. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for hanging out. You guys have been great, and I'll catch you guys later.